Dr. Kaur Kartini, Polytechnic lecturer from Nian. I've got 3 quick questions. One, there is a lot of negativity online and offline, actually. I mean, I feel when I came back from the States, I was just away for about 10 months to a year, and I was a bit culture shocked returning back home because I felt that Singapore has become such a negative-minded society. The strange thing is we have a lot going for us, but we keep on looking for the things that we don't have. It's good because it shows that we want to be better, but it makes us a whole lot of, a bunch of unhappy people. How do you think we can become a more positive-minded society? Second question on social media, how can we combat online thuggery or bullying? Because while I see that there's some sense of wanting to achieve some social justice, go after people who say this and that about Singaporeans. And I disagree with the bad things that people have said about Singaporeans, but I feel uncomfortable with naming, shaming people and wanting to go to their workplaces and take action against them. I mean, how do we deal with such things? I suppose your portfolio in MHA will come, make this relevant. The third issue is xenophobia. We say that race and religion are OB markers. I've met people who say, oh, I'm not racist because I'm fine with Chinese, Malays, Indians, and others, Eurasians in Singapore. But I don't like the foreigners, but I'm not racist. I mean, if you don't like foreigners, you are racist. And xenophobia is a form of racism. So shouldn't that be an OB marker? Where do we draw the line on this? Thank you very much.
For Kartini's questions, I would put it this way. I would say that maybe we should try and arrive at a situation where what you do offline in the real world and what you do online, there's some parallelism. That means if you threaten somebody sort of in real life, that's considered not correct, wrong. Then in the same way, if you threaten somebody online, I mean, that's really not different from threatening somebody in the real world. So if you offer violence to a person or you threaten somebody, I think there should be a parallel with the real world because, I mean, it's no different whether I tell you that, I'm inciting hatred and people to beat you up to your face or in a crowd. It's no different than if I do it online. So perhaps we can try and find some parallelism there and see how we can deal with that. Negativity about Singapore and how to become more positive. When I was a Minister for Education, it was really quite amusing for me. I sometimes felt I was living in 2 different worlds, or 2 different realities. Every time I was in Singapore, I got no end of complaints. I used to have very stressful dinners and with friends, I sit down with them and I get no end of complaints about the school system. It's terrible, it's stressful, why are you teaching kids this way? Did you know that the teacher marked this wrong and the teacher is silly? How can the teacher teach these kids the wrong things and so on and so on? Kids are spending too much time in school, teachers are overworked, etc., etc. Then when I go abroad and I go to Japan, I go to Europe, I go to America, they tell me, oh, what a wonderful education system you have. Your kids are so good. When they come to our universities here, they do so well. How do you train them how do you educate them so well? In mathematics, they speak such wonderful English. They're so good. And they're cooperative and they don't give us any trouble and they do so well. Please send us more of your students. So I think, am I sort of, is this 2 different worlds that I've been living in and have I been asleep in one and sort of, have I fallen into a dream somewhere and sort of missed something? But I think the point is this. You find that not just in education, but in many other fields in Singapore. I think it's important for us to be self-critical. That means we must never be satisfied with ourselves. The day that we say, I've arrived at the top of the mountain, I've achieved everything, that's the day when you start going downhill. So I think we should never be satisfied with ourselves. And we should be self-critical so that we can keep on improving and doing better. So I think that's important. So don't be self-satisfied, don't be complacent. But at the same time, I think we should look at things with a proper perspective. I mean, if we become so self-critical to the point of being self-destructive, I think that's very bad. So I give you an example, having brought up kids before. I mean, you say you have, let's say you have a son, and he comes home from school, and he got only 80 marks in his mathematics exam. So I tell him, how did you do? I got 80 marks. Oh, you got to do better next time. So no TV for this week, or no computer games for this week. You make sure you work very hard, do better next time. Okay. So okay, the boy goes away, he's very upset. He works very hard, does very well. Next week he comes back, class test, shows you 90 marks. He's delighted with himself. He comes back and he shows it to you. He says, 90 marks, only 90 marks. How come? Where did you lose your 10 marks? Come, show me. How can you make such a silly mistake? You were careless there, you were terrible there. How many marks did your other friends in school get? 92 marks. And how come you couldn't get 92 marks? And the boy goes away and says, look, I tried my best. I did better. I got even more scolding. And you demoralize yourself completely like that. But if you told him, look, 90 marks, that's very good. Let's see how we can improve. Okay, maybe you need to pay a little bit more attention here or a little bit more attention there. But that one was very good because the last time you got that one wrong and you've always been getting that one wrong, now you got that problem fixed. And how did you fix that problem? Because you did this, you did that, you use a different learning technique and so on. And you motivate him. You motivate yourself. It's positive vibes. And you go on and you can do better. So I think as a nation, we should, as I said, be self-critical, never be self-satisfied, always try to improve. But we shouldn't be self-critical to the point of being self-destructive and let the negativity overcome us and paralyze us and stop being able to work together and to progress. So, it's a long answer to Kartini's question, but I think it's a certain approach and an attitude of mind as well.